Carter Hayes thinks it's just another lonely night mopping marble floors for people who'll never know his name. At 2 a.m., in a half-lit parking garage, he hears a woman scream and makes a choice that will change everything. Run toward danger with nothing but his janitor's flashlight and a father's instinct. Minutes later, a terrified stranger lies bleeding in his arms, whispering a powerful name he doesn't recognize. By sunrise, Carter is back making his daughter's breakfast until a sudden knock rattles their thin apartment door and a Federal Marshal appears, holding a file with that same name in bold. The city never truly sleeps. Glass towers catch moonlight and neon, their lobbies empty except for the people nobody bothers to see. Carter Hayes is one of those people. At 34, he has become invisible in the Sterling Financial Tower, a 40-story monument to wealth and ambition that rises like a glass spear into the night sky. His cleaning cart squeaks across marble floors that cost more per square foot than his monthly rent. The sound echoing in the vast empty lobby like a heartbeat nobody hears. The air smells of expensive cologne long faded, stale coffee from break rooms on upper floors, and industrial cleaner just applied a chemical sweetness that burns the nose if you breathe it too deeply. He wears a gray uniform with his name stitched in faded red thread over the breast pocket. The fabric has thinned from countless washes, but it is always clean, always pressed with the iron he bought secondhand. His boots are old, resoled twice at a shop 3 bus stops from his apartment, the leather cracked but polished to a dull shine every morning. Everything about Carter speaks of discipline, of a man maintaining standards even when nobody is watching. When nobody cares. His hands move with practiced efficiency, wiping down brass fixtures that executives touch without thinking as they rush to meetings, emptying trash cans they fill without looking, polishing glass walls they mark with fingerprints like careless signatures of their passing through this temple of money. During business hours, those same executives walk past him as if he is furniture. At night, he erases their fingerprints and makes the world look perfect again by the time they return. But Carter's eyes tell a different story. They scan exits reflexively. They note blind spots in camera coverage. They track movement 3 floors up through reflections in polished stone. These are not the eyes of a janitor. These are the eyes of someone trained to survive in places where mistakes meant body bags. He checks his watch. 10:45 p.m. 7 hours until dawn. 7 hours until he can go home to the only person who matters. His daughter Audrey is 7 years old. She has his brown hair that refuses to lie flat, her mother's curious hazel eyes, and a smile that makes every exhausting night shift worth it. Carter works these hours because the overnight differential adds $3 per hour, and because the schedule means he can make breakfast, walk her to school, help with homework, read bedtime stories, tuck her in before returning here. Their apartment is small. The walls are thin enough to hear neighbors arguing. The hallway light flickers. But inside, everything is organized, clean, loved. Audrey's drawings cover the refrigerator. Books from the library stack neatly on a second-hand shelf. The kitchen table is scarred but stable, where they eat dinner together, where Carter helps her sound out words, where she shows him pictures of him as a superhero with a mop for a weapon. Audrey does not know her mother died when she was 6 months old. She does not know her father once carried a rifle instead of a mop, that he pulled wounded soldiers from firefights, that he earned a combat medical badge under fire. She does not know the decision that kept him deployed 1 week too long bore the signature of a Defense Department contractor named Dante Hollister, or that when Carter finally made it home, his wife's funeral was already over. What Audrey knows is simpler. Her father makes pancakes shaped like animals on Saturday mornings. He never misses a school play. He reads to her in funny voices every night. And when other kids whisper about her dad being just a janitor, he kneels down, reties her shoelaces, and tells her she is braver and smarter and kinder than anything those children can imagine. Tonight feels like all the other nights. Carter moves through the Sterling Tower's upper floors. The offices are dark caverns of expensive furniture and dormant technology. Computer screens glow in standby mode. Corner offices overlook the city like glass thrones. He empties trash cans filled with documents about money moving in amounts he cannot fathom. Sometimes he finds half-eaten lunches that cost more than his weekly grocery budget. He does not resent these people. He simply exists in a different world, one that touches theirs only in these silent hours when he removes their waste and polishes their kingdom. Around 11:30, elevator doors open near the main lobby. A woman steps out. Carter recognizes her from previous late nights. Alexandra Pierce. Early 30s, blonde hair pulled back, dressed in a charcoal suit. She always looks tired, always carries a laptop bag that seems too heavy, always moves like someone being followed. Tonight is different. Her eyes are red-rimmed. Her hands shake as she checks her phone. When she sees Carter wiping down the elevator frame, she startles, gasps, before recognizing him. "Sorry," she says, her voice tight. "Long night." "It's okay, ma'am," Carter replies quietly. "You should get some rest." She nods but does not smile. As she walks toward the exit, Carter notices she keeps looking over her shoulder. The doors close behind her. He tells himself it is not his business. Everyone here is stressed, everyone carries burdens he does not understand. He returns to his cart, but something gnaws at him. A feeling. The kind that kept him alive in places where hesitation meant death. At 1:15 a.m., Carter is cleaning the service corridor near the emergency stairwell leading to the parking garage. A security camera blinks red, then goes dark. He frowns. Maintenance was supposed to fix that last week. The stairwell door sits slightly ajar, the electronic lock displaying an error code. He considers calling it in, but Clinton Ward, the night security guard, already brushed him off twice tonight. Clinton jokes about cameras being down for maintenance and winks like they share some secret. Carter has never liked the way Clinton's eyes slide away when he talks. Carter is about to move on when he hears it. A sound, distant, echoing up from the parking levels below, metal scraping, shoes scuffing concrete. And then, sharp as breaking glass, a woman's voice cutting through the silence before being muffled. Carter's hand tightens on his cleaning cart. His pulse kicks up. That feeling returns, stronger now, screaming at him to pay attention. He pulls out his phone with shaking hands, dials 911. His voice is low but clear. Sterling Financial Tower, downtown. Underground parking garage. I hear someone in distress. Possible assault. I'm going to check. Send police. The dispatcher is asking questions, but Carter is already moving. He pushes through the stairwell door, leaving his cart. The fluorescent lights here are old, buzzing, casting everything in sickly green. He takes the stairs quickly but quietly. Years of tactical training, overriding years of trying to forget. The parking garage is a concrete tomb 4 levels underground, buried beneath tons of steel and stone and the sleeping city above. Water drips somewhere in the darkness, each drop echoing off bare walls like a slow heartbeat, marking time in a place where time feels suspended. The ventilation system hums and rattles through unseen ducts, pushing stale air in circles that never quite freshen. The smell hits him immediately and completely: motor oil, thick and heavy. Rubber from tires both new and burning out. Gasoline fumes that hover in invisible clouds. Exhaust residue that never quite clears despite the ventilation's best efforts. Emergency lights cast pools of sickly yellow illumination surrounded by deep shadows that could hide anything, anyone. The concrete walls are stained with decades of leaked fluids, dark streaks running down like the building itself is bleeding oil and neglect. Carter stays low, his body remembering training his mind tried to forget. He moves between parked cars with deliberate care, using their bulk for cover, his footsteps silent despite boots not designed for stealth. His breath is controlled, counted automatically: 2 breaths in through the nose filtering dust and fumes, 1 breath out through the mouth releasing tension. His eyes adjust to the dim lighting by degrees, picking out details that matter: tire tracks fresh in oil on concrete telling him which way vehicles have moved recently. A coffee cup abandoned on a hood, suggesting someone left in a hurry. A security camera in the corner with its red light, dark and dead, confirming this is not random chance, but careful planning. And then he sees them. 3 men. 2 holding a woman between them, her mouth covered, her feet dragging. The woman is Alexandra Pierce. Blood runs from her temple. Her eyes are wide with terror. The 3rd man stands by an unmarked van, phone to his ear. His voice carries in the concrete space. Dante wants the package out of the city before sunrise. No, Hollister doesn't leave loose ends. Carter's blood goes cold. Hollister. That name, that signature on deployment orders, that bureaucratic delay that kept him from reaching his wife in time. He should call for backup. He should wait. He is not a soldier anymore. He is a janitor with a 7-year-old daughter who needs him. But Alexandra's eyes meet his across the garage. She cannot scream, but her gaze is a scream. And Carter knows in his bones that if he walks away, she dies. They will dump her body somewhere remote. She will become a statistic. He cannot save everyone. He learned that lesson in Blood and Screaming. But he is here. Now. And she is looking at him like he is the last chance she will ever have. Carter picks up a metal bolt from the ground. Throws it hard toward the far corner. It clangs against a pipe. 2 of the men turn, hands moving toward weapons. Carter moves. He comes out of shadows fast. The mop becomes a quarterstaff. He strikes the phone man's wrist, sending the device and gun clattering under a car. He drives his shoulder into the 2nd man's ribs, slamming him against the van. The fight is ugly. Carter is not a superhero. He is a 34-year-old man who has not thrown a punch in 5 years. He takes a fist to the jaw that makes his vision blur. He slips in motor oil, almost goes down. But he remembers. Body mechanics. Weak points. Environment as weapon. He uses a car door as a shield. He kicks the gun away. He grabs a fire extinguisher and sprays it in faces, buying seconds. The 3rd man gets Alexandra into the van, engine roaring. But Carter has already cut the zip tie on her wrists with his box cutter. She rolls out the opposite door as the van screeches away, license plate obscured by mud. Carter pulls Alexandra behind a concrete pillar. She coughs, cries, shakes violently. He checks her pulse, examines the head wound. Not deep, but bleeding. Possible concussion. You're okay, he says. His voice steady though his hands shake. Ambulance is coming. You're going to be okay. She grabs his sleeve. Her voice is hoarse, desperate. Dante Hollister. Don't trust anything he touches. Carter freezes. But sirens are already wailing. Alexandra's eyes lose focus. She slumps against him. He stays with her until paramedics arrive, until police take his statement, until the garage fills with flashing lights and yellow tape. He gives them everything. Faces, voices. The name Hollister. An officer drives him home as dawn bleeds gray across the skyline. Carter's apartment smells like coffee and safety. He stands in the kitchen, still in his stained uniform, and makes pancakes because it is Saturday. His hands move automatically. Normal. He needs normal. Audrey appears in the doorway, clutching her stuffed rabbit, rubbing sleep from her eyes. You're home. Always, he says, and his voice almost does not crack. She climbs onto a chair, watches him cook. Your hand is hurt. He looks down. Bruised knuckles. Just clumsy. Slipped on a wet floor. She nods, believing him completely, and his heart breaks a little. The television is on low volume. Morning news. A reporter stands outside Sterling Tower. An attempted kidnapping last night was thwarted by an employee who wishes to remain anonymous. The victim is reportedly a witness in an ongoing federal investigation into financial crimes. Authorities have not released further details. Carter turns the TV off before Audrey looks up. They eat breakfast. She shows him a drawing him in a cape, holding a mop like a sword, standing in front of a tall building. That's you at work, she says proudly. It's perfect, he whispers. Later, he walks her to school. Other parents arrive in nicer cars, wearing nicer clothes. A mother whispers to another, no wife, just that janitor dad. Audrey's shoulders tighten. She heard. Carter kneels, ties her shoe though it is already tied. You know what I think? He says softly. I think you're the bravest, smartest kid in that whole building. And they'll figure that out eventually. She hugs him tight, then runs inside. Carter returns home. He tries to sleep, but cannot. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees the parking garage, hears that name, feels his wife's absence like a fresh wound. At 4:30 in the afternoon, there is a knock. 3 short, 1 long, deliberate. Carter looks through the peephole. 2 people. A man and a woman, both in dark suits, standing with authority. He opens the door, keeping Audrey behind him. The man shows a badge. U.S. Marshal Service. I'm William Corbin. This is Deputy Gwen Matthews. You're Carter Hayes? Carter nods slowly. May we come in? The apartment feels smaller with federal agents inside. Gwen's eyes take in everything: drawings on the fridge, bills on the counter, secondhand furniture kept clean. William sits across from Carter at the kitchen table. Last night you saved someone's life, William begins. Alexandra Pierce. She's a forensic accountant. A key witness in a federal case involving money laundering, corruption, and worse. He slides a photograph across the table. Alexandra in a hospital bed, bandaged, awake. She identified you. Said you appeared out of nowhere and stopped 3 trained operatives. I'm not special, Carter says. I just couldn't walk away. That makes you very special. William leans forward. Miss Pierce overheard something. The men mentioned a name. Dante Hollister. She says you reacted when she said it. Why? Carter's jaw tightens. He keeps his voice low. I knew that name from the military. Years ago. A deployment order that got delayed. My wife was pregnant, complications. I needed emergency leave. The paperwork took an extra week. By the time I got stateside, she was already gone. The signature on the final authorization was someone named Hollister. Dante Hollister. William and Gwen exchange glances. Hollister was in Defense Department contracting. William says carefully. He moved to private sector finance 5 years ago. We believe he's the center of a network that funnels money through shell companies, bribes officials, and eliminates problems. I'm not your problem, Carter says. I'm just a janitor. You're a witness, Gwen says quietly. You saw them. Heard them. And they saw you. These people don't leave witnesses. As if summoned, Carter's phone buzzes. Unknown number. He does not answer. It rings again. William reaches out. May I? Carter hands it over. William answers on speaker. Silence. Then a man's voice, smooth and cold. You should have kept mopping floors, Mr. Hayes. Now you've made things complicated. For yourself. For your daughter. The line goes dead. Audrey's name in that man's mouth turns Carter's fear into something harder. What do you need from me? He asks. William explains the options. Stay here, pretend nothing happened, hope they do not come, or cooperate, enter temporary protection, help them finish what Alexandra started. If I help you, Carter says, can you keep my daughter safe? We can try, William answers honestly. But I won't lie. These people are resourced and connected. They've already found your number. They'll find more. Audrey appears in the hallway. Dad, are these police? Carter looks at his daughter, then at the badge. They're here to help us, sweetheart. We're going to take a little trip for a few days. Like a vacation? Something like that. Within 2 hours, they are moving. A car with tinted windows. A house in the suburbs that looks normal but has bulletproof glass and cameras hidden in the eaves. Gwen stays with Audrey, showing her a friendly old German shepherd. Audrey forgets to be scared. Carter is led into a sitting room. Alexandra Pierce is there, standing carefully, bandage on her forehead. When she sees him, relief and guilt cross her face. I'm sorry. I never wanted you involved. You'd be dead, Carter finishes. It's okay. It's not okay. You have a daughter. Which is why I understand why you couldn't stay silent. Alexandra sits. And over the next hour, she explains. She discovered irregularities in accounts handled by firms connected to Hollister's network. Millions moving through fake charities, offshore accounts, shell corporations. When she tried to report it internally, her supervisor buried it. When she went to the FBI, her coworker who knew about the evidence died in a car accident 2 days later. She copied everything to encrypted drives and went into federal protection. The men in the garage were professionals hired to make her disappear before trial. You heard them say Hollister's name, Alexandra says. That makes you corroborating evidence. It also makes you a target. Carter thinks of his wife. Of paperwork delayed. Of signatures that treated human lives as administrative inconvenience. He's killed before, he says quietly. Maybe not directly, but his decisions kill people. William nods grimly. Which is why we need to take him down completely. No plea deals. No escapes. The safe house settles into uneasy routine over the following days. The transition is jarring from their cramped apartment where every sound is familiar to this suburban house where every creak could be a threat. But Audrey adjusts with that remarkable resilience children possess when they trust the adults around them. She is fascinated by Deputy Matthews, follows her around asking endless questions about being a marshal, about the gun she carries, about whether she has ever arrested a bad guy like in the movies. Gwen answers with patience, turning fear into curiosity, making protection feel like adventure. Audrey plays fetch with Max in the backyard, throws a tennis ball that the old dog retrieves with dignified enthusiasm, her laughter carrying through open windows and reminding Carter why every risk is worth taking. She draws pictures of herself and Max, of Gwen in her marshal vest, of her dad who she still believes is the bravest person alive even though she does not know the half of what he has done, what he is about to do. Carter watches his daughter laugh in afternoon sunlight and feels two incompatible worlds colliding inside his chest. The world where children play with dogs and draw with crayons, and the world where men with guns hunt witnesses and signatures on papers mean death. He wants to keep her in the first world forever. Wants to build walls high enough that the second world can never touch her. But he is learning that walls are not enough, that sometimes the only way to protect what you love is to step into the darkness and fight. On the third night, alarms shriek through the house. Lights cut out briefly. Gwen rushes Audrey into a reinforced room. Carter grabs a chair, positions himself between the door and his daughter. William and Agent sweep the perimeter. Outside, a car idles for 30 seconds, then drives away. No shots, no breach. Just a message. We know where you are. William reviews security logs later. Someone accessed the system remotely. This location was compartmented. Only a handful of people knew. You have a leak, Carter says. I have a mole. William's face is stone. And I'm going to find them. The next day, while Audrey is at temporary school with covert protection, a woman approaches the playground fence. Gwen spots her from the car. The woman offers Audrey a small toy, asks where her father is. Audrey remembers what Carter taught her. I don't know you. She backs away, finds a teacher. The woman disappears before agents arrive. Cameras catch a partial plate of vehicle previously spotted near Sterling Tower. When Carter hears, he explodes. Not loudly. Quietly. The way truly dangerous anger works. You said you'd keep her safe. We are keeping her safe, William shoots back. She's alive because we trained her and watched her. But they're escalating. Sitting here waiting is not a strategy. What is? Alexandra speaks up. We stop defending and start attacking. We have evidence. We know their infrastructure. Carter knows the building where they operated where they still operate. Sterling Tower? Carter asks. Your tower, Alexandra confirms. The server room on the restricted floor. That's where they store records we can't access remotely. And if we make them think I'm moving, they'll come for me, and we'll be ready. Carter sees where this is going. You want to use me, the janitor, the invisible man. I want to use someone who knows every maintenance shaft, every camera blind spot, and every exit, William corrects. Someone they'll overlook because they've overlooked him for years. Carter looks at Audrey playing in the next room, then at Alexandra who brought the truth, then at William who could have lied but did not. What do you need me to do? The plan is elegant and dangerous. Alexandra will be transferred to another location. Leaked information will say she's retrieving more evidence. In reality, she'll be in a temporary command center inside Sterling Tower, protected and running tech support. Carter will go to work. Normal shift, normal routine. Except his cleaning cart will carry equipment. His access card ignored for years will open doors for agents disguised as maintenance workers. William's team will be scattered throughout the building. When Hollister's people move to intercept what they think is a vulnerable transfer, the trap closes. They'll kill you if they catch you, William warns Carter. They'll kill my daughter if I do nothing, Carter replies. The night arrives cold and clear. Carter puts on his gray uniform, ties his boots, and for the first time in years, it feels like armor. Audrey hugs him at the door. Be safe, Daddy. Always, he promises. The Sterling Tower lobby is exactly as he left it. Marble, glass, money frozen in architecture. Carter waves to the night guard, a real agent tonight, not Clinton, who is now in federal custody singing desperately. He pushes his cart to the service elevator. 2 other cleaners join him, undercover deputies. They do not acknowledge each other. On the 10th floor, Carter works alone. His cart now carries signal jammers, portable servers, and communication relays hidden in cleaning supply boxes. He moves methodically, setting equipment in electrical closets and server junctions. Through his earpiece, William's voice guides him. Camera 3 is on a loop. You're clear to the east corridor. Carter wipes down a window and watches the city below. Somewhere out there, Audrey is safe with Gwen. He has to believe that. At 1:30 a.m., the trap springs. A car pulls up. 4 men enter. 3. Carter recognizes from the parking garage. Plus 1 new face. Older, expensive suit. Silver hair. The kind of man who signs papers without reading names. Dante Hollister. Alexandra whispers through the comm. That's him. Carter's heart hammers. The man who delayed his leave. Who built an empire on erased lives. Who ordered Alexandra's death like signing an expense report. Hollister and his men take a private elevator to the restricted floor. Carter is already there, mop in hand, cart blocking a hallway. They barely glance at him. He is furniture. But as they pass, Hollister pauses, looks back, frowns. You were here the night of the incident. Carter meets his eyes. I'm here every night, sir, just keeping things clean. Suspicion flickers across Hollister's face. He says something to one of his men, who immediately speaks into a radio. The plan is falling apart. William's voice crackles. They're moving early. All units, converge now. Hollister's team realizes the trap. 1 man reaches for a weapon. Carter reacts on instinct. He swings the mop handle hard into the man's wrist. The gun spins away, shouting erupts. The hallway becomes chaos. Doors burst open. Agents in tactical gear pour in from stairwells. Hollister runs for the elevator. Carter is faster. He kicks the cleaning cart into the door track. It jams. Hollister spins, reaching for his weapon. William appears at the end of the hall, gun drawn. Federal agents. Hands up. For a moment, everything freezes. Hollister's hand hovers near his jacket. His eyes calculate odds. Then, slowly, he raises his hands. The men are cuffed. Miranda rights are read. Cameras record everything. Alexandra, watching from the control room, breathes for what feels like the first time in months. But it is not over. One of Hollister's men breaks free, firing wildly. Agents return fire. Carter dives behind his cart as bullets punch through drywall. William tackles the shooter, and they crash through a glass partition. Carter sees another man, the one from the van, fleeing toward the parking garage. The same garage. The same nightmare. He runs after him. Down the stairs. Through the door. Into the concrete tomb where this all began. The man is faster, younger, desperate. He reaches a car, fumbling for keys. Carter does not think. He throws his flashlight. It strikes the man's temple. He staggers. Carter closes the distance, wrestling him down. It is not elegant. They are 2 exhausted men fighting on oil-stained concrete. William arrives, weapon drawn. U.S. Marshal. Don't move. It ends with the man face down, cuffed, sobbing about deals and lawyers. Carter sits on the garage floor, breathing hard, bleeding from a split lip. William offers him a hand up. You okay? No, Carter says honestly. But I will be. Upstairs, Dante Hollister sits in an interrogation room, still in his expensive suit, now wearing federal handcuffs. He says nothing. His lawyers are already on the way. But the evidence Alexandra compiled, combined with Carter's eyewitness testimony and tonight's attempted assault, builds a wall no lawyer can climb. Over the following days, the case unfolds across news channels. Hollister's network collapses. Bank accounts are frozen. Arrests ripple through corporate offices and government positions. The rot is exposed, cut away. Carter does not watch the news. He is busy. Audrey is back in regular school. They have moved to a better apartment, not huge, but bright, with real sunlight in the kitchen. There is a second bedroom now, a desk for homework, windows that lock securely. Carter accepted a new position. Head of security operations for a firm that manages federal buildings. The pay is better. The hours are better. He wears a different uniform now, one with his name on a badge, not stitched in fading thread. But he still remembers. He visits Sterling Towers sometimes, walks through the lobby, nods to the night crew. They nod back. They see him now. One evening, Alexandra knocks on their apartment door. She brings cookies, a book for Audrey about women in forensic science. They have coffee while Audrey draws at the kitchen table. "How are you?" Alexandra asks. "Better," Carter says. And it is true. They are not dating. Not yet. Maybe never. But there is something: respect, understanding, shared survival. Alexandra comes by sometimes. She and Audrey talk about math. She and Carter talk about everything and nothing. William stops by too, occasionally. He brings Thai food and tells stories about Marshal Service history that make Audrey's eyes go wide. At the trial, Carter testifies for 90 minutes that feel like 90 hours. He sits in the witness box, his hand on a Bible he is not sure he believes in anymore, and swears to tell the truth that has been living in his nightmares. He describes that night in the parking garage with perfect clarity that surprises even him, the voices he heard echoing off concrete. The name Hollister spoken like an order, not a person. The violence attempted with cold professional efficiency. He looks across the courtroom at Dante Hollister sitting at the defense table in a suit that costs more than Carter will make in 6 months, and he sees not a monster but simply a man. A man who made terrible choices, a man who forgot or never knew that signatures represent lives, that delays mean funerals, that eliminating problems means making orphans. A man who believed himself immune to consequences because money and power had always provided immunity before. Hollister's expensive lawyers try to break Carter on cross-examination, try to paint him as unreliable, as someone whose military service left him damaged and prone to seeing conspiracies, as a father desperate for money who might be lying for a reward nobody promised. They imply he misheard in the chaos, suggest his memory is conveniently detailed after weeks of coaching. They question why a janitor would risk his life for a stranger, as if the question itself reveals something suspicious rather than something noble. They fail. Carter's testimony is unshakable because it is truth, and truth has a weight and texture that performance cannot match. His memory is clear, not because it was coached, but because trauma burns details into your brain with perfect fidelity. His integrity shows in every answer, every refusal to embellish or exaggerate, every admission of what he does not know alongside certainty about what he does. The jury deliberates for 4 hours that feel like 4 years. When they return, the foreman reads the verdict with a voice that shakes slightly, understanding the weight of what they have decided. Guilty on 17 counts. Racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, attempted murder. The list goes on, each count another nail in the coffin of a criminal empire built on spreadsheets and shell companies and the casual erasure of inconvenient human beings. The judge, a woman in her 60s who has seen every kind of criminal and cynic in her courtroom, sentences Hollister to 32 years in federal prison without possibility of parole for the first 20. He will be 80 years old before he can even ask for freedom, before he can breathe air outside razor wire and concrete. It is not enough to bring back Carter's wife, not enough to undo all the damage and death this man caused. But it is something. It is consequence. It is the universe saying that money and power do not make you untouchable forever. Afterward, in the hallway, Alexandra finds Carter. "Thank you," she says. "You saved yourself," he tells her. "I just drove the getaway cart." She laughs. It is the first real laugh he has heard from her. Audrey's new drawing hangs on their refrigerator. It shows 3 people, Carter, Audrey, and Alexandra standing in front of a building. Above them, the sun is rising. "Is that us?" Carter asks his daughter. "It's our family," Audrey says simply. "The one we have now." Carter looks at the drawing for a long time. One Saturday morning, he makes pancakes. The apartment smells like butter and vanilla. Audrey chatters about a field trip. The radio plays old jazz. Sunlight angles through clean windows. There is a knock at the door. Carter opens it. It is Alexandra, holding a bag of groceries. "I thought I'd help with breakfast," she says tentatively. "Come in," Carter says. They cook together while Audrey sets the table. It is simple, normal, beautiful. That night, Carter stands in the doorway of Audrey's room, watching her sleep. She is safe. She is loved. She will grow up knowing her father stood up when it mattered. In another part of the city, the Sterling Tower stands lit against the night sky. Someone is mopping those marble floors right now. Someone whose name no one knows. Someone who is seen by God. If by no one else. Carter thinks about that person. He makes a note to visit next week, to shake their hand, to look them in the eye and say thank you. Because he knows now what he did not know before. Invisible does not mean powerless. Small does not mean insignificant. And the choices you make at 2 a.m., when no one is watching, when you are afraid and alone, and have every reason to walk away, those are the choices that define you. Carter closes Audrey's door gently. He walks to the kitchen, pours a glass of water, looks out at the city lights. He is not a hero. He is a father, a janitor turned security officer, a man who got lucky and made the right choice. But in the grand ledger of the universe, where every name is written and every life matters, Carter Hayes is more than visible. He is seen. He is known. He is enough. And that, finally, is everything.